We're live. And we are live. Welcome to the weigh-in. This is the MMA Latest News podcast. This is the first one. We're hoping to make these a regular Friday night feature, or Friday morning feature, or Friday afternoon feature, or Saturday morning feature, depending where you are in the world. Joining me today is Dorian, one of our writers from Auckland, New Zealand, and Cody from Florida. We're going to talk about a few things today. Mendes and Aldo, top of the bill. We're going to talk pound for pound. We're going to talk John Jones. We're going to talk Anderson Silva's new deal, and we're going to have a little bit of chat about Conor McGregor as well. Our website the last couple of days might as well have been called Conor McGregor Latest rather than MMA Latest because we must have had about 15 articles up about him. But back to the beginning, back to the top. Let's talk Mendes and Aldo. The fight that saved UFC 179. It was a pretty dull card up to that. I mean, I did enjoy the Phil Davis fight. But really, it was a bit of a dull card all around until the main event. Dorian, kick us off, our kid.
Well, it probably could go down as fight of the year. The judge's decision did not show how the fight went. It was scored as a 49-46 to Aldo, and I mean we actually saw Aldo in trouble more than he has lately, and we saw him push into the later rounds. Usually he coasts those championship rounds, but with the threat of Mendes knocking him out, he really had to pick up his game and make sure he was completely there for those 5 rounds.
Yeah, he was pushed all the way. Like you said, the scorecards again didn't really reflect the fight that we saw. 49-46 definitely gives the impression that it was a bit of a one-sided affair, but it wasn't, I don't think. Cody, what have you got to say, my mate?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It seems like the consensus on the message boards that I'm looking at is that Aldo definitely just kind of steamrolled him, which surprises me because this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I thought Mendes won that fight 3 rounds to 2. I thought he won rounds 3, 4, and 5. But, I could see anyone giving it to Aldo, especially I can also see 49-46 because the rounds were kind of close, and if you just kind of edge it to Aldo a little bit, then it's a fair decision. But at the same time, it gives off the impression, like you're saying, that it was a more dominant win than it actually was. Because I thought it was a fairly controversial decision.
Yeah, me and Dorian have been on the Hangout actually for quite a while at the moment, and we said to each other earlier that 49-46 suggests a bit of an ass kicking, whereas it was close round after close round after close round, and unfortunately that's the way it goes. Some rounds you can swing left and you can swing right, and I think that's what happened in this case. Fight of the year.
Oh yeah,
It's up there. It's definitely up there. I can't off the top of my head think about a few more fights would be in that conversation, but yeah. If we took the faces, if you saw the after the fight of Aldo's face, you'd be thinking Mendes won. I mean, his eye was swollen shut. Mendes really did land some hard punches. He rocked Aldo, and man, yeah, it was an awesome fight. But about the judging, you might tend to expect something like that in Brazil. The fight before that was the fight. One of the fights, it was a pretty controversial scorecard from one of the judges, But yeah, it was a very good fight. I enjoyed it a lot.
Well, I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me okay?
yeah, you blacked out for a second, but I can hear you and see you fine.
All right, okay. Yeah, it just popped up, kicked me off. I'm back in. So I've missed obviously what you have just said there, lads. But I think I can gather from what we were saying earlier that yeah, an amazing fight, a fight that I think could convert non-fans into fans, and that's exactly the sort of fight I'll be looking for once, well, the expected Conor McGregor fight happens with Aldo sometime next year. But as we're talking Aldo versus John Jones pound for pound. First and second in the current rankings. John Jones currently on top. Aldo was second. What do you think Aldo's got to do to get to the top of the pile as pound for pound?
Dorian, go ahead.
Can he really? Can he really get ahead? Can he really get ahead of John Jones? If you look at who John Jones has fought, I mean, it's tough to argue the caliber of fighters that Aldo has fought is in the same league as John Jones. You know, taking a look at John Jones' record, I mean, Belfort, Rashad, Machida, Shogun. You know, is there anyone Aldo's fought at that level? He's fought Mendes twice. You know, he's never really fought anyone that's there. And John Jones has ran through everyone. He's steamrolled everyone. Every fight he's ever had, he dominated, apart from the Gus fight.
Are some of the ones, apart from Gustafsson, are some of the ones that John Jones fighting maybe living off reputation then a little bit more than current ability, do you think?
Go ahead, Cody.
Oh, yeah, you know, I think there's, Aldo's got to do one of either two things. Number one, he's got to weigh more than 185 pounds, because the heavier guys seem to get more lenient pound rankings go, as well as every other aspect of the sport. Maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a small guy myself, but that's kind of the way that I see things. Number two, he's got to beat the best fighter in the world today, and I'm not talking about John Jones. I'm talking about none other than, of course, the notorious Conor McGregor.
Best fighter in the world at the moment?
He's hands down the best fighter in the world. No. All jokes aside, I don't know. I mean, he hasn't, outside of his last fight with Mendes, every fight that he's had, just like Jones, has been pretty dominant, bar perhaps Frankie Edgar also. But if you look at the win streaks, let's count them right here for Jose Aldo. Beat Mike Brown, Uriah Faber, Gambirian, Mark Hominick, Kenny Florian, knocked out Mendes, beat Frankie Edgar, Korean Zombie, Ricardo Lamas, and then Mendes again. He's defended his title more often than John Jones has, or more times than John Jones has.
And a serious caliber of fighter in that list right there. Serious caliber. Just little guys.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, is that the level of competition for Jones, on average, has been, you know, larger than that of Jose Aldo. So
really?
It's tough.
Florian, Uriah Faber.
Well, I'm just saying. Okay, well, Korean Zombie, Ricardo Lamas. Now they're great. Don't get me wrong, but Manny Gambirian, maybe at their times that they were really good, but in retrospect,
do they go down? Do they go down as legends of the sport, like Machida, to Shogun?
That's what I'm saying.
You know, Belfort.
Shogun, Belfort, and Machida could all three be considered past their peak. All of them, all three.
No. You're missing the point, though. I'm saying these guys are legends of the sport that John Jones has beat, and they really are legends. And you know, Jose hasn't got one fighter that he's fought that really screams like legend out. You got Frankie Edgar.
The featherweight division's a new division as well for the UFC at least, so it's maybe unfavorably looked upon because they've not had time to build up that reputation. That's a serious list of fighters that he's got in his locker there. Serious list that are at the peak as well. None of them are past the prime.
But are you saying John Jones's opponents were past their prime, or was he just that dominant? Was he just that good?
I think, if not past the prime, I think you could argue that they were on the way down. Glover Teixeira, I think, past it or overrated or both. Gustafsson, I think he lost that fight, but it's certainly an up-and-comer. He's no legend. Chael Sonnen, Chael's fighting above his natural weight. Vitor Belfort, a legend of the sport, yes. In his peak, no. Rashad Evans, it depends on where you sit on Rashad. A massive all-rounder, but a challenger or a contender shouldn't really be. Lyoto Machida, past it. Rampage, past it. Mauricio Shogun Rua, past it. Bader, average. So there's not. I mean, he beat Bonner, but that was the one where he came to everyone's attention. But I think to John Jones to be called pound for pound, for me, I don't think he is. I think Aldo's already there. And I think for Aldo to secure himself for everybody else, two things have got to happen. I think he's not going to get the chance, I don't think, just yet, but I think if he beats Cub Swanson, who is on a serious tear, or Edgar, whoever wins out of that fight, if he puts Conor McGregor away, then moves up to lightweight. If he does that, there can be no argument, there can be no question. If he moves up to lightweight and is successful, he can't just move up to lightweight and lose. But if he moves up to lightweight after beating, he's probably his next two fights, I think there can be no argument whatsoever that Jose Aldo's #1 pound for pound of the world.
To be honest here, I'm actually a little surprised that John Jones is ranked above Aldo in the pound for pound discussion more often than not, because they usually give more credit to a champion if he's held his title longer, or if he's defended it more times. And Aldo's defended his title 2 more times than Jones has, and has been champion 2 more years than Jones has as well.
And they also generally give a little bit of credit to a smaller guy because it's pound for pound talent. Obviously, the smaller you are, the more the more credit needs to be given to you being a smaller guy. If all things being equal, his skill set you would think is a little bit higher than John Jones.
I agree. I think Jose Aldo's striking is it's better than John Jones. I think if we looked at them as size, we put them the same size. I think Aldo is a better fighter. I think Aldo, I guess we could say he might be the pound for pound. I mean, 25-1. 25-1 is a sensational record against, and he's basically cleared out a lot of his division. That's undefeated for
it's a long
9
time.
years.
I don't know off the top of my head. It's a long time.
His only loss was November 26, 2005. 2005. I repeat that. 2005.
9 years
We're
ago.
now in the year 2014.
I'm just going to pull his record up so I've got it all there. So yeah, he's 26.
Put that in perspective.
26 and 1.
Go ahead.
26 and 1, 15 finishes. He's not boring either as a champion. Some like GSP was labelled.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
But I'm not saying it. I'm saying he was labelled as it. I like GSP, and I thought he was. There's the argument that GSP might be the pound for pound all time, and I would put myself in that camp above Anderson. I'd put Anderson second to GSP of all time. As a dominant champion, GSP is that dominant all-time champion as a complete martial artist. But back on Aldo, let's just go back up through that record again. Chad Mendes, Ricardo Lamas, Korean Zombie, Frankie Edgar, Kenny Florian, Mark Hominick, Manny Campirian, Uriah Faber, Cub Swanson already. These are just absolute killers. There's a few of these that have held titles at lightweight as well. This is a serious record. It's only going to be when he retires and people have a real look at the caliber of fighter that he's fought and destroyed.
Here's a thought though: does this fight with India last week, does that drop his pound for pound, or do you think it rises?
Because of how close the decision was.
Because of how the fight went, how close it was in a way.
I think it drops him, to be honest with you.
It wasn't as dominant as his first victory over Mendes. But you maybe have to make the argument that Mendes' stock has risen in the time since they both last fought as well. I don't know, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I put Mendes up there as very high pound for pound as well, but because he's not holding a title, he's never going to be considered. I think Mendes is an awesome fighter, and I think, luckily for Conor McGregor, that Aldo kept that title, because he could have lost it. Because if it's Mendes that has to fight Conor loses that match 3 out of 5 times, I reckon.
I agree. I think I don't think Conor knows what to do with that kind of level of a wrestler, you know, who can put the fight where they want it to. Connor dictates where his fights have gone lately, you know. He has the pace to control the fights, but against a wrestler, I don't think we'll see him as effective. I think he has a better chance of beating Aldo than Mendez, just based on the wrestling and where it can go. But at the same time, Aldo is a beast.
Oh, I mean, I'm so looking forward to that fight. I mean, I think he's going to run through Seaver. I know we've skipped ahead here of what we was going to talk about, like, but I think he runs through Seaver and he goes into what's probably going to be the fight of next year already. I think you could put a bet on that because I think these two are not going to look to take each other down. I don't think. I think they're both much more comfortable on the feet, and I think they're going to stand and trade, and they're going to be all over the cage, chasing each other, backing up, looking at counter, and I think it's just going to be an absolute war. It's going to be like a Rocky film. There's going to be no defense, and there's going to be people catching punches with their head left, right, and center. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
I'll just put it out there though. I don't think that'll be fight of the year. My pick's Cerrone and Miles Jury. But I agree that fight is guaranteed fireworks. There's zero chance, zero that fight could be a letdown unless we see some eye poke or
Yeah, well, that's likely, just as likely, I think, as well. Flipping it a little bit back on the pound for pound. I think you mentioned earlier, Weidman's got to be in the conversation after two pretty dominant destructions of Anderson Silva. Where do you stick? Well, give us your top five. What's your top five pound for pound right now?
it's tough. I kind of want to go back and kind of say Aldo's 1, Jones is 2. I really don't know. Do we have Rousey up there? Do we have Ronda?
Well, in terms of being dominant in their division, I'd have to argue you probably do. Probably.
Is that what pound means, though?
But has anyone been more dominant than Ronda Rousey?
No. She is she's a pro amongst amateurs, isn't she? I think is pretty much exactly what she is.
But then we go back, take her skill set, put her the same size as Aldo or John Jones, she gets murdered.
Yeah, arguably, yeah. She's not got the, no,
she can't strike. She's very one-dimensional. We talk about John Jones, Aldo, complete fighters in the truest sense. And then we have Rousey, who is missing everything when you're standing up in the octagon.
Yeah, she's not got the head movement. She's not got the footwork. She's not got the wrestling. She's basically got a judo throw and an absolute killer armbar, which I would have to say is probably the best in the whole organisation, male or female. And I would argue her judo throws are probably up there as well. And there's only maybe Lombard, who's got pretty devastating judo throws.
I'd say Lombard has better judo than Ronda. Well, is Jake Shields fight? Man.
That's a lesson in how do you get down on the floor.
That was one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen. Just he was throwing him around like it was a pillow.
No, that was essentially two different species fighting, and well, isn't he a vegan?
Is he?
Shields, not Lombard. Lombard's not. No, Lombard eats babies for breakfast, I think.
But if we go back to pound for pound, I'd probably put Mighty Mouse at 3, Weidman at 4. Can we leave? Can I leave Kane at 5, even though he's injured? Even though he's pretty much wrecked, single-handedly wrecked that Mexico card. Yeah,
he has single-handedly wrecked that Mexico card. Well, him and Sanchez both going. That was the two Mexican draws, wasn't it? What's yours, Cody? What's your top 5?
I don't know. I think you definitely have to. You got to have DJ up there at the top somewhere, and somewhere in the top 3 you got to have DJ. I'd probably lean towards Mighty Mouse being number one. Yeah, you got your John Joneses, you got your Jose Aldos, Chris Weidman, of course, and number five, the tough one for me. I don't really know who to choose, but I don't think Ronda Rousey should be in the discussion. I think you should have male pound for pound and female pound for pound. I mean, put it this way, if Ronda Rousey fights Henry or TJ Dillashaw or Dominic Cruz, how do you think she'll fare? You know?
No, she gets
like
straight out there, but I think she'd have a good
she'd
shout
do so
against
well.
Brian Caraway.
I'm being honest. Brian Caraway, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he'd knock her teeth down her throat. Who knows?
Brian Caraway has the baddest rap in MMA. The guy can fight. The guy can legit fight.
Yeah, but
don't hate on that man.
Bird beats
don't hate on that man.
To watch, you know it does. I think it's interesting that neither of you have mentioned Hendricks or Pettis.
And you know why?
Oh, Pettis. Yeah, Pettis is good, but he needs to be more proven.
Exactly. He doesn't fight.
Go ahead, Dorian.
Well, he doesn't fight. No one. You can't be in any ranking if you don't fight.
I would argue Johnny Hendricks should have been in there ahead of Kane. I think Johnny Hendricks is probably, you could argue, not as dominant in his division, but welterweight division's stacked compared to the heavyweight division. Kane's just been injured forever. I'm not even sure when the last time he fought was. It must have been a year. Must have been a year.
He fought JDS was his last fight, wasn't it?
That was over a year ago. I'm sure it was.
Let's have a look.
Look it up.
He's had 2 defenses since December 2012. That's pathetic.
Yep, his last fight, October 19th, 2013, so it's just over a year.
So, and now it's going to be middle of next year at some point, or at least springtime next year before he gets back after the operation he's just had. I think Johnny Hendricks is in there ahead of Kane. I think Johnny Hendricks is going to keep that welterweight title for a long time. I can't see anybody testing that. Not in the immediate. No, I can't see anybody testing that immediately.
I'd have to disagree with you on that one. I personally scored his fight with Lawler for Lawler. I'm the biggest GSP fan in the world, but I thought he beat GSP. However, I thought Robbie Lawler beat him pretty handily, and I don't see him being able to take it from Lawler this time around either. He's a great fighter nonetheless, of course, and let's see how he does. But I think it's too early to put him up there at the top 5 discussion. We gotta see how things pan out more. It's the same with Pettis. Pettis, he just hasn't fought like y'all are saying. We gotta see. He's gotta prove himself a little bit more. But he did look fantastic, absolutely, against Henderson. Nobody's done that to Henderson, and I was really impressed.
Massively.
I disagree with Johnny Hendricks. You know, that fight with Robbie Lawler, it was very close. I think if you're going to put Hendricks in the pound for pound, Robbie Lawler could probably sneak in 15th.
Like we were saying with Mendes and Aldo, you could probably drag him in with him as well, just because of how good he is. It's not his fault. He's got an absolute killer in his way. Yeah.
I disagree. I think Lawler beats Hendricks in the next fight. I think Robbie Lawler saw that he could have finished Hendricks in their first fight, but wanted to save the tank. I think he goes out with a goal to not take it into the 4th and 5th rounds, and I think he commits to finishing Johnny Hendricks, and I think he does it.
That 4th or 5th round is definitely something to contend with, isn't it? It's obviously an extra 10 minutes of fighting when 15 minutes is a hell of a long time to fight, and especially if you've got grappling in the mix.
When you're such a powerful puncher like Lawler is, I think that's got to be in the back of your mind that you don't want to blow the tank in the 3rd and pretty much lose the fight in the championship rounds by not being able to fight that wrestle, that takedown by Johnny Hendricks off.
And Weidman, do we think Belfort's going to test him?
Cody, go ahead.
And off the TRT.
Now that
Belfort.
Yeah, exactly. those two Belfers that we're gonna see. It'll show in the fight. And anything prior to that's just speculation. But if the form of Belfer shows up that we've seen the past 3 fights, then he's gonna give him some problems. I'll tell you that much. I think Weidman will take it regardless, but he's gonna give him more problems.
I disagree. I'm quite the Weidman fan, and I think Chris Weidman actually completely dominates Vitor Belfort.
When Weidman took the title from Anderson, I didn't give him a chance for that first fight, and I think I give him less of a chance for the second fight. Where was you both pre?
I was probably the only guy on Twitter that called that, or not called the knockout, but I called Weidman winning, and I've got the screenshots. I'm not lying here. I went back like 2 years in my Twitter line to find this, whatever it was, screenshotted that me calling the win, and yeah, I picked Weidman winning that fight.
Cody, how did you go pre-fight? What were you thinking?
I'll tell you what. As you can see, I got that poster from that day right up there on the wall, right there. So it was my favorite night in MMA history. But all due respect to Anderson, but still, I thought Chris Weidman was going to win that fight. I thought almost every opponent of Anderson Silva's, or at least the ones that legitimately had a chance, like Sonnen and Belfort and people high up there. I thought both of them were going to beat Anderson, but he proved me wrong. Chael got taken out twice. Coming in, I think Weidman was going to take it. I thought he was a terrible matchup for him, but the hype got to me. They're like, greatest pound for pound fighter ever to exist in the history of the universe. He's going to destroy Chris Weidman. I got sucked in by the hype and told my roommate put $100 on Anderson Silva because there ain't no way he's going to lose this fight.
I've got to pay back.
There was some serious passion behind that speech you just made.
Didn't trust me.
I know. If only he didn't break up 3 times all the way through.
Oh yeah. Oh, did I? Oh, poor shame.
I think we got the gist of it though. So speaking of Anderson, a 15-fight deal.
Yeah. I haven't heard the second one.
It took him 6 years to complete his last 15 fights. He's 39 now. Is he still going to be fighting age 45?
No chance. No chance in hell.
No.
What if he loses to Diaz? He probably retire on the spot.
3 straight losses. Anybody else gets cut, don't they?
Is he the only guy in history that could be on a 2-fight losing streak and get a 15-fight contract? That's probably worth some serious money.
Didn't Dan Hardy lose 3 on the road but still got kept on? I think that happened. I think he might have lost 4 and still got kept on. I'm going to have to Google that while we're here. But yeah, Anderson could quite easily... I see a potential Nick Diaz fight and a potential GSP fight. And if they sign the GSP fight before the Diaz fight, he could look at 4 straight losses with 13 fights left on his contract. I'm just going to Google
I don't... The only thing I see is the sense out of this whole debacle is that Dana didn't want to pay him the belt money. So Dana tore that contract up because it was probably an absurd amount of money. Remade this, he's probably making less. This contract's probably less.
Yeah, that's a good shout actually.
Than the championship contract.
Yeah, his 10 fighters would have been on the back of not losing it however long, and it would probably have had all sorts of crazy clauses in. Yeah, you're probably on a good shout there, actually, I bet.
That's all right. I hadn't thought of that. You're probably... there might be something to that you might be right. But I thought that when I initially heard it, obviously, ain't no way Anderson Silva is going to be fighting 15 more times. I'll tell you that. Well, I thought it was just keep him locked up in the UFC so that he couldn't go out to Bellator afterward, just by the off chance that he might think about it.
Speaking of Bellator, actually, this has just popped into my head. I've not wrote any notes about this or anything like that, but we've discussed it in the writers' group. With Royce Gracie going to Bellator as brand ambassador and Naima Gracie just signing with Bellator, Kron Gracie makes his debut shortly. What's the odds on Bellator using Kron Gracie to be... I'm not saying they're going to feed him cans, but they're going to feed him cans, and they're going to make him their number one star. What do you think? What's the odds?
I heard he was in with a fight, but is that with Bellator or is that with a?
No, he's not fighting on Bellator this time. I'm just sort of speculating that once he's got a couple of pro fights, this is his pro debut, so he's going to be on some local show. I can't remember the name of the show. Once he gets a couple of fights under his belt and a couple of wins, I'm saying he signs to Bellator because he's not going to be good enough for the UFC. He's going to get crushed if he tries to go into the UFC. I think he's a welterweight. Is that right? Is he welterweight or lightweight? Might be.
I think he's a welterweight.
If he goes in 155 or 170, he gets smashed by everybody because it sounds like he's going in and backing his jiu-jitsu almost exclusively. I think.
What is he going to do? What is he going to do? Is he going to pull guard? Is he going to pull guard in these fights? Can he strike? Can he throw a punch? We don't know. My bet is he pulls guard and goes for subs.
Oh well, you would expect that's what happened, I imagine. Yeah, Dan Hardy lost 4 in a row. He lost to GSP, Condit, Anthony Johnson, and Chris Little before he beat Ang Ludwig. And then,
yeah, but think about those names you just listed some of the most monstrous fighters in MMA.
But he lost
GSP, Condit, and Rumble.
Doesn't usually stop them when someone loses 4 in a bounce. Usually 4 in a bounce, and that's you out the door. But
well, he hasn't fought in over what, nearly 2 years.
Yeah, September 2012.
What is that? Heart problem, wasn't it? Was it heart problem?
Yeah, Wolfram. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, he's got some crazy unregulated heartbeat. Where
I'm sure I saw something on Twitter that he would be.
I think he's applied for a license.
Yeah. I think I saw something. He was wanting a return.
That's what I saw as well. I thought he actually was already scheduled for the fight. On that though.
No, I don't think. I think he's applied for a license. I think that's about as far as it's got.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting. I love Dan Hardy. I actually thought he was going to beat GSP. I bought into the hype on that one big time. And yeah,
you leave the chat room right now.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that. That's just very funny.
I bought the hype. I did. I really did.
Of Dan Hardy.
The UK press. The UK press.
I'll tell you what. It ain't happening the same way with Conor McGregor. He's for me. But we'll get to that later.
Conor.
Just one more thing on Dan Hardy. He can't commentate. I don't know what fight. What was I watching? I was watching a card recently.
Two cards ago, I think he was. I think it was a.
What card was it?
Fight pass one. Was it not Conor's?
I think it was. No. It was. Wasn't it? Gunnar Nelson's.
Yeah, Conor's.
Was it?
The one in Sweden. The one Conor was on. Oh no, Conor wasn't on that one, was he?
No, he was on the Vegas. He was on Vegas.
Yeah.
Whatever one it was, Dan Hardy cannot commentate. He's the most biased commentator I've ever heard. I can't remember who it was fighting, but for 3 rounds he just saw perfection, and it wasn't he. I hate him.
He's the UK's leading light, unfortunately. It's not fucking Bisping. I hope he comes back to the cage just for that reason alone. But I think he's got a lightweight, actually. I think he's dropping down a lightweight, which is out of the frying pan into the shark tank, isn't it?
Lightweight over welterweight.
Yeah, I think that's
welterweight. I'd say welterweight's the shredder, and lightweight's a bit behind.
I don't know. There's some boys in lightweight. There's definitely some boys in lightweight. I think we should.
Welterweight. Lawler, McDonald, Woodley, Condit, Matt Brown, Lombard, Damian Meyer, Ellenberger, Safadine, Rick Story, Nelson, Gastelum. It's quite a division.
Hang on, let me pull up the lightweight because there's no mugs in there.
That's true, but I'd take welterweight over lightweight.
Maybe if you're going in as a big lightweight over being a small welterweight, might find it a bit easier. But he's going to struggle with the speed. Let's have a look. Lightweight. Pettis, Melendez. I'm not even trying to pronounce.
Nurmagomedov.
Dos Anjos, Cerrone, Henderson, Miles Jury, Jim Miller, Edson Barbosa, Nate Diaz. Come on, man. Nate Diaz, and he's ranked 14th.
Ben Henderson's on a 2-fight losing streak and he's still 5th in the division?
Yeah.
Yikes.
Nate Diaz is ranked 14th.
Yeah.
He shouldn't even be in the rankings.
Well, I was going the opposite direction with that.
Oh, next big UFC event. You've got Rockhold and Bisping over in your side of the planet.
Beautiful side of the planet it is too.
Should we leave that till next week, gentlemen?
I think so.
Thoughts on Rockhold Bisping?
Rockhold, Bisping.
Oh, we're gonna talk about this now.
Oh yeah, go on then. Throw it out there. Rockhold, Bisping. Bisping obviously got a little bit of attention from our website this week. I don't know if you saw it, Cody. We got a fighter, or an ex-fighter, writing for us. Wrote a poem about Michael Bisping, which Bisping responded to on Twitter. He's not had a lot of love from our resident fighter, Tony Moran. How do you see him going against Rockhold? I think he grinds out a decision, in all honesty.
Bisping?
Yeah, I think he does.
Wow.
I don't like the guy, but I think he grinds out a decision. I think he'll be too busy. I think he'll look to work all over the place, and I think he'll con the judges into giving him the win.
Dorian?
Cody, go ahead. No, I'm collecting my thoughts about what I want to...
Very well. I'm going Rockhold on this one. I think this is either ending, just like a typical Rockhold fight, either ending very quickly in the first round or probably going to be a 5-round war. My gut tells me it's going to be a 5-round war. Rockhold winning the decision. People have been about Bisping's pace and his cardio, but Rockhold has not shown any weakness in his cardio. He's gone 5 rounds multiple times, and with the top. We're talking Jacare, we're talking Tim Kennedy, who just beat Bisping. I know MMA math doesn't work, but still it gives some perspective on the matter. I think Rockhold's on his way up, and Bisping's on the tail end of his career, to be honest with you, so I think Rockhold's going to take this one. And they hug afterwards.
As we said earlier, actually, Doran, that when he comes up against the good fighters, he generally loses. When he
But is
comes up
Rockhold a
against
good
the
fighter?
fans.
Is Rockhold
I think
elite?
they're very, very even. I think, but I see Bisping taking it. I see him just grinding. I'd probably not one to stay up for. I reckon. I don't even know what time that's going to be on.
I put one thought out there. I think if it goes 5 rounds, I think Bisping's cardio, and I think he'll just outwork him if it does go. I think it'll be a decision for Bisping. But at the same time, it could be a close fight. It's very even matchup. I think personally.
So we look forward to that. So that was the first episode. It was a bit chaotic and a bit unplanned. Cody literally joined the group 2 minutes before we started, and we flung him the link, and he's joined up, and he's performed admirably.
Well done, Cody.
Well done, Cody. Man of the match today.
Appreciate
it. Next week, I don't know who we're doing it. We got over 40 guys in the group now, so this could be a completely different crew every week. The timings might not be set in stone, as we literally cover the whole planet. We've covered the whole planet here. We've got Europe, Australasia, and America covered here today. So these things might bob around a bit until we find a bit of a rhythm.
But if you follow MMA Latest on Twitter, you will be able to see when we're going on.
True story.
Hopefully.
Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, like the page on Facebook, which is getting quite popular. It's got about 5,000 on there, I think, now. Make sure you're checking out MMA Latest for all the latest MMA news from around the world. We're covering about 10 to 12 articles a day. We're growing. You'll see us at events. You'll see us at expos. You're going to see us all over the world. This is the beginning. Thanks for joining us. See you next week.